Hello, welcome. This channel is all about how the little things can change your life. So today let's talk about how acting the way you want to feel can make a big difference. Take the focus away from, oh, I don't feel like doing that, and instead focus on, what do I have to do to get what I want? For example, if I always did only what I felt like doing, a lot of the time I would just stay in bed all morning because frequently I wake up and I feel groggy, I feel sleepy. I am definitely a night owl, so I much prefer the evenings than the mornings. Even if I've had a good sleep, like a good amount of sleep, I've not had any bad dreams, and I don't feel tired throughout the day, just initially in the morning when I wake up, I'm like, oh gosh, sometimes I don't want to get up. I don't feel like getting up and going for a walk. If I was acted based on how I was feeling, I would stay in bed a lot longer. But because I know that getting out and about is good for me and I want to feel good about myself, I act accordingly. I act in the way that I want to feel. So I decide to get up and go for that walk. First, let's identify what you want to feel. So you might want to feel happy, you might want to feel calm, you might want to feel focused and in control, you might want to feel peaceful, you might want to feel loved. Identify first what you want to feel. Say you think I want to feel loved. Don't start thinking about, oh, no one cares about me, or I don't have, a significant other, or I don't have a best friend. Don't start thinking about that right now. Just think, ideally, how do you want to feel? Do you want to feel purposeful? Do you want to feel like you can move through life with ease because you feel grounded and centered and you know who you are? In your ideal world, your ideal version of yourself, how do you want to feel? Look at your life at the moment. How have you been living? Are you living under the belief that no one cares about me, no one loves me, or I'm not good enough? Are you living under those things? Take a moment to appreciate how that feels as well, to have those beliefs. And if you're struggling to get in touch with your emotions or how you feel or how you would like to feel, I relate to you because as an alcoholic, I really tried to stay away from emotions, and part of the reason I drank was to escape from myself and to escape from the way I was feeling. So coming into recovery has been quite difficult because feeling everything again and feeling too much and learning how to identify my emotions again in a way that I wasn't able to before because I could always hide behind alcohol. It's challenging to look at your emotions and work out how you feel and put that stuff into words. The words that we have to describe these feelings, whether you say I feel sad, I feel lonely, or I feel content, I feel calm, they're such small words to encompass a whole feeling. Particularly if you take something like sad, it will look like so many different things. I can feel sad, but I can also feel motivated. I can feel sad and I can feel alone, or I can feel sad and connected. You can be all these sort of contradictory things. It's such a small word. So I get that getting in touch with your emotions is difficult, but that's the first thing you need to do when you're trying to act the way you want to feel. You need to work out first how you feel now and how you want to feel. What is your ideal feeling state? Now we've identified how we want to feel, look at how you can act to get that feeling. So some of this might be obvious. Say you've thought, I want to feel calm, or I want to feel more centered. How do you act when you feel calm? You probably are more measured. You probably don't react impulsively to things. You react from a place of surety and confidence. If you are in a calm state, you don't engage with people who you know are gonna bring out a big reaction in you. You might prioritize things that you know will keep you in that calm state, like going for walks, or do you like having a bath? Do you like reading? Do you know there's a certain person who always makes you feel calm? Do you like doing yoga classes? Do they help you feel calm? You need to identify not only how you want to feel, but how you can act as if you already feel that way, because you're gonna act your way into feeling it, basically. So you might be thinking, how on earth can I feel calm? Like, I'm really stressed about this deadline, or I'm really worried about the state of the world, or I feel like my life is really hectic at the moment. I'm in like a period of change and transition and everything feels very uncertain and unstable. How can I feel calm? You need to look at the way you would be acting if you were already calm, and then just take those actions, and eventually you will get to feeling calm as well as a result of taking the action. So if we take another example, so for example, I know that going for a walk is never a bad idea for me. I always feel better after going for a walk, and I don't really like talking in absolutes, in always or never, because there is so much nuance and grey areas in life. But really, honestly, I never go for a walk and come back feeling worse than when I left. But the problem is, when I'm not feeling great, I don't necessarily want to take that walk, even though I know it will be helpful to me. So in terms of dealing with resistance, you basically just need to ignore any of your feelings, which will feel quite strange. But if we take the walk example, as I said earlier, I wake up and I don't feel like going for a walk. It's really nothing about the way I'm feeling. I can acknowledge that and be like, oh, I'm feeling a bit tired today. I don't have to then act in accordance with that. I know I want to feel better, feel more positive, maybe feel a bit more refreshed, and so I choose to act the way I want to feel. I choose to go for that walk. And say if you've identified you want to feel calm or you want to feel connected, and that's like an ideal feeling state for you, and you know that to feel calm or connected, it would help you if you called someone. If you're like me, you might be a bit resistant to calling someone. You might feel like, oh, are they gonna pick up, or am I gonna be bothering them? What do you want more? Do you want to continue the way that you are now, or do you want that calm feeling? Do you want that peace? Do you want to feel connected? What do you want more? Do you want to give yourself like the safety of not stepping out of your comfort zone and not calling that person? Or do you want to do the difficult thing, give them a call, even if you're worried how they might react, because you know that if you do end up having a good conversation with them, it will help you. Same with me. Do I want to just say, oh, I don't want to go for a walk? Or do I want to do the thing, go for the walk, knowing that it will make me feel better? You need to take action. Action is so important. Because let's look at it from the other way. If you start by always acting only based on your feelings, and say you feel bad a lot of the time, you've got low mood, or you feel unmotivated or unfocused, your actions, if you're coming from I always act based on how I feel, your actions are always going to be dictated by how you're feeling, which is very volatile. I know for me, some days I feel very motivated to make these videos, or I feel motivated to go for a walk, and it's not even a question. I'm like, yes, I want to do these things, I'm doing them. But other days it's like, oh, I don't know, do I have enough time? Regardless of how I'm feeling, I'm still taking the action because I want the end result. Let's say instead of starting from a place of I want to feel calm today, what can I do to achieve that? You start from the negative, turbulent place of I don't feel calm, how am I going to feel calm, I can't do anything. Already, I bet you can sense that that's a more negative mindset that's going to really close you off and stop you from taking any action. Your head is filled with thoughts like, I'm not good enough, no one loves me, no one cares, I can't do this. Maybe this works for other people, but it doesn't work for me. First thing I would say is that be wary of any absolute thoughts, particularly when it comes to negative thoughts. I know I said I always love walking, it always makes me feel better. This is true, but I think particularly when you're dealing with negative thoughts, you need to be very wary of any thoughts that include the words always, never, or no one. Anything that's absolute black and white thinking, that could be an indication that this is a negative thought that you don't necessarily have to believe if you're thinking no one cares about me. That's probably not true, but it can feel true when you're in a negative space. As you become more aware of these thoughts, you'll be able to catch yourself when you start thinking, no one cares about me. You'll suddenly be like, oh wait, is that true? Or is that just a thought that's trying to hold me back? I would also say to be wary of these kind of thoughts that are very absolute, because your brain doesn't want you to be wrong. If you are thinking, no one cares about me, you will start finding evidence of that. You will be able to bring to mind examples of when people ignored your texts, or when they sort of rolled their eyes when you shared something with them, or they turned away. Times where they said they would do something but they didn't. Your mind doesn't want to like contradict you, so if you're constantly thinking no one cares about me, you're going to be able to find plenty of examples that are going to back up that thought. So it's really important to be aware of what you're thinking, because that's going to affect both what you're feeling and also how you then choose to act. And if we're talking again about how actions come from the way you feel, if you are feeling no one cares about me, no one loves me, you will then take actions based on that feeling. You might start withdrawing from people, being a bit offhand or a bit distant with people because you're like, they don't care about me, so I can't share. You might start ignoring calls, just separating yourself and feeling more and more alone, and you end up being in this vicious cycle. It becomes your reality. That's just showing you the power that your feelings have. If you give them that power, they will also turn into your reality. Even if you're like, I don't want to act the way I want to feel, you're probably doing it already. Instead of thinking of aspirationally what positive things you want to feel, look at the times where you have withdrawn or you have started believing all of these negative thoughts about yourself and how that has led to your actions. And you might be surprised if you think about this. What can you do if you're in that negative headspace? So here you need to think, do you want to feel unloved? Do you like that feeling? Do you want to feel like you're not good enough? Is that a nice way to feel? No? Then after acknowledging that, you can start acting the way that you want to feel. So how does someone who is loved and who is cared for, how does that person act? Now, you can't control what other people are doing. You might instantly think, oh, well, someone who's loved, they get loads of calls, or people send them flowers, or people give them gifts, or they feel really included and a part of everything. Of course, but you can't control other people. You can only control yourself and your actions, your thoughts. Act as if you are a loved person. Play your part in that supportive environment that you want to be a part of. So, someone who is loved and secure and feels like they are cared for probably has quite high self-esteem. They probably often reach out to other people, not for anything for themselves, but just to connect and say, hey, do you want to meet for coffee? They probably remember specific dates or specific things that are upcoming in the people they love's lives, like, does this person have an exam coming up, or have they got a big presentation? Get out of yourself and stop thinking, I'm not loved enough, or I'm not good enough, the world isn't giving me enough. Think about what you can do for other people and act in a way that a loved person and a cared for person acts. What does being loved and that feeling, what does that look like for you? What actions can you take to act as if you are loved? And you are, even if you don't believe it, but it's just about acting your way into that feeling. And as we said, the opposite is true. If you feel unloved, you stop texting people because you're like, oh, but they don't care about me, no one will want to meet me for coffee. You withdraw a bit. And eventually people then will stop caring because you've stopped engaging. Friendships, relationships, it's a give and take. You have to be both in it together. And if you think, no one cares about me, no one loves me, and you're gradually withdrawing from people, people are not going to think, unless you verbalize it, which is another thing you can do, but unless you tell them like, look, I'm just really struggling, I feel like you don't care, then maybe you can deal with that. But if you don't say that and you just keep backing away because you're like, no one cares about me, I feel so unloved, eventually people will stop caring because they will not see, oh, she's got low self-esteem or she's struggling to feel loved and accepted. They will just see, oh, she's getting a bit distant, she's not replying, she doesn't want to meet up, she must have a lot going on. People will eventually just drop out because everyone has their own thing. No one is thinking so much about your problems. They are focused on their lives and what they are doing. You can't be thinking that people are gonna read your mind or realize that you're struggling with something unless you tell them. They will just see the way you're acting and they will make their own assumptions. So if you start acting from a place of no one cares about me, no one loves me, that will come out in your actions, and then it will eventually be true because you will be pushing other people away because they will think that you don't have time for them in your life. This is kind of a bit where maybe I could talk about manifestation a bit. I don't know how much I believe in this. I do think there is power though in, if we're going to talk about manifestation in terms of acting as if you already have something, looking at what you want and trying to act in accordance with someone who already has that thing. I think that can be very powerful because that is basically just acting the way you want to feel. How does the highest version of yourself behave? What does your ideal version of yourself look like? What does she wear? What perfume does she use? What does she eat? What is her daily routine? What are her habits? If you start acting as if you are all of these things already, you will manifest them, basically. And I do think as well, there is power in words, so you can speak things into existence. I mean, I guess this could be, you could see this from a spiritual point of view, but as we discussed earlier, if you think something often enough, your mind will find examples to back it up. If it is something like no one cares about me or I'm so unloved, you might have tons of examples of that person sent me a card out of the blue just because they were thinking of me, or that person called me, or I had such a lovely time going for a walk with this person treated me to lunch, this person bought me a coffee. There will be so many examples of, oh, I'm loved, people care about me. If you're telling yourself the story, no one cares about me, you're basically speaking that into existence because your mind will always find the examples of no one cares about me. That person forgot my birthday. That person turned away when I was about to share something really important to me. All of these things can be true and all of these things can have happened, but it's to do with your perspective and your mindset. And if you're always focused on the negative, or you're telling yourself the story that no one cares, you're gonna find proof of that. You're gonna manifest that. Again, I'm not sure I believe in this, but I do believe in the power of taking action to change the way you're feeling. So constantly saying, no one cares about me, or no one loves me, your brain will find evidence for that. You will be proved right. The question is, do you want to be proved right? Or could you choose to believe instead a more helpful belief of, I am loved, I am cared for. No, I'm not the center of anyone else's universe, but people can still care about me and love me. I can still be a part of people's lives. I talk about this a bit more in my video, No One Is Coming to Save You, which I will link up here if you want to watch. It does have to come from you. You're the one who knows your thoughts. You're the one who knows the ins and outs of your routines. If you want to change the way you feel, you need to take action in order to do that. And this is where I think affirmations can be helpful. I talk a bit about affirmations in my Journaling for Beginners video, which I will link up here. Affirmations can be a really powerful way of building your self-confidence, building your sense of self again, trying to build up that feeling of I am good enough, so that then you can take action to back that up. So by acting the way you want to feel, by using affirmations, by being aware of your thoughts and taking action first, you will be stepping into the truest version of yourself, your ideal self, your higher self. You will be doing it by taking action. So my challenge to you, if you want to comment below, ask yourself, what is your ideal version of yourself and how do they act in comparison to how you act now? And then once you have that idea, try and move in alignment with that ideal version of yourself and take action based on that version of yourself. Really try and act the way you want to feel instead of acting from how you feel now, because depending on how you feel now, that is very volatile and it's going to change, but it also could be you're starting off from a really bad place if you're not feeling so great, and then the action is just not going to follow through, or you're going to end up in that vicious cycle. You can move closer to your ideal self every day through taking action. Do not base your actions on your feelings. Do not base your motivation on your feelings, your goals, your dreams. Your feelings are so volatile and they're going to be all over the place. Focus on actions. Actions will help you. I am talking too much like this. You have the power to change your life. You just need to focus on your actions instead of what you're feeling. Act the way you want to feel. Act your way into feeling the way that you want to. This week on my channel, I am doing a daily video challenge. I am posting one new video every single day. So if you want to follow along, please feel free to subscribe. Thank you so much for watching. God bless, and I will see you either tomorrow or I will see you in the next one.